Kia ora koutou. Welcome back to another episode of Matua's Mātauranga. I definitely didn't forget the name already. Nope, that would be really embarrassing if I forgot the name already of my own fucking YouTube series I decided to make. But yeah. Today we're going to be looking at how to use the particle ka. A very common verb and other usage particle. Well, mostly verb particle, let's be honest. Actually, yeah. Commonly used verb particle that, honestly, in my opinion, happens to get a lot of misunderstanding and misinformation. Well, I won't say 100% misinformation, but at the very least, information lacking nuance, which is very important for how to use this damn particle. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this. Okay, well then, to begin with, our first and primary usage with verbs is, what's that? To mark it as a verb sentence? No tense? But I thought ka was for future tense. Well, it's also used in future tense sentences, but it does not inherently make it a future tense sentence. So yeah, that's something I get pissed off a lot with whenever I see people teaching Māori online. They're like, yeah, ka for future, kaite for present, e for past. And I'm like, no. That's so overly simplified, it actually is insulting to me. But anyways, for the first usage is merely to mark a sentence as being a verb sentence. Which means, as it inherently has no tense, you use context to make the tense. This being a very big and primary example here. So we say, Apopo ka haere taua. Tomorrow, apopo. Ka, marking that it's a verb sentence. Haere taua. Us two will go. Now, of course, if it was just ka haere taua, that can mean we will go. But when we add another word here, it makes it 100% sure that's what it means. For example, if we were to change it to inanahi ka haere taua, it turns into yesterday we went. Because ka doesn't mean future, it just means verb. So, if there was no context, ka haere taua, yeah, they're probably talking about future tense. But we got a time word or any other form of reference to, like today, tomorrow, yesterday, or like some other thing that marks its being in a specific tense, then ka will take on that tense. And I don't know if this applies to other dialects, but at least in Ngāpuhi reo, if you use a word like inanahi, you always would use ka instead of i, because I know some people would say inanahi I haere taua, but for us at least, it's inanahi ka haere taua, because that just flies off the tongue better or something. Okay, now I'm going to be less pissed off because these are like other usages that people don't fuck up all the time. Ka for when. Again, no inherent tense. I really misspelled a lot. Let me just, there we go. Now I'm 11 know I misspelled anything. So for example, ka parereo, ka kaoiai. Oh, I forgot to write down the translations. That's very awkward. But what this means is when or if, or basically it's saying, it's when in the sense of like when I do X, Y happens. So when I shout, he or they will reply back. Again, so when, in this instance, ka parereo, when I shout. Our next example here, ko kiki te moenga ka moe. Obviously, again, there's a second ka in here, which marks it as a verb sentence, or a verb phrase. And then we have the first ka here, which marks it as a when type of sentence. So in this instance, ka hoki, when return. So basically, when I return to the bed, I sleep. Now, obviously, this is a very casual sentence because it doesn't even have the word like "oh" in it. So, if it was more formal or like a more proper quotation mark sentence, it would be something like Ko hoki au, ki te moenga, ka moe au, and then I if you really want to. Because I would just turn it into like a habitual sort of thing instead of just saying you're sleeping and be like, and yeah, I'd sleep, and I sleep. In the like sense of it's something you naturally chose to do. But yeah. Ka, verb, something, or just ka, verb, and then ka, something else. When X, Y. Okay. Now this is what everyone thinks when they think ka. And that's right, it can mean future tense. That doesn't mean it always means future tense, and it doesn't mean that you should say ka means future tense when you make a little sheet saying what all the particles mean. But anyways, now notice how there's no extra time words. No, no inanahi, apopo, aterara, iterara. No words indicate time. This means it probably is a future sentence, but not always. So it is still very contextual, but if it says ka and a verb and like something else, it is very likely a future sentence. And like worst comes to worst, you'll figure it out by the end of the conversation if it's meant to be future or right now. So for our first example, ka whititera, the sun will rise / shine. Ka whiti will rise. For our other example here, ka maramaho ia, I will explain it to them. Again, ka will. Okay, then for a little fun fact, in Ngāpuhi Mita, we also use kote as a replacement for ka sometimes for future tense sentences. For example, right here. Ko te haereo ki te toa instead of ka haereo ki te toa. Which, hey, this is the video about the usage of ka, but I thought I'd just throw it in because it is a little interesting tidbit that you don't really hear a lot. But anyways, to our next few usages, or really our last couple of usages, because these are very specific now, kinda. I mean, not very common at least. Ka in usages of commands with taua and tātou. Now again, this is taua, not taua. Remember? Taua is a different word to taua. Taua just means like that, or those. Well, I guess that'd be awa, but you know what I mean. Taua is like a word for like that thing you mentioned already. Or like those you mentioned already. Something like that. And then tātou, obviously tātou, is like us. So, kaka ke tātou or tātou ka kake, there are both ways you could say it. Let's climb, or I guess tātou ka kake. That's a bit of a tongue twister, fuck. We shall climb. Like, I guess it kind of just puts more emphasis on tātou, but then this one puts more emphasis on ka kake. Very funny, bit of a tongue twister. But anyways, on to our last couple of usages. We have the usage of ka in counting, which is one I didn't actually really know. Now this is a bit more of a specific example, but so not when you're saying like there is X number, but when you're literally going like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like katahi, karoa, katoru. So for this example, obviously, katahi, karoa, katoru, ko te katoa, e toru ngā mea. 1, 2, 3. Okay, in total, there's 3 things in that sort of sense. And I'm pretty sure you can also use it to say, for example, let's say, ka rima ngā manu. Ka rima ngā manu. There'll be 5 birds. You can use it like that too, I'm pretty sure. But don't quote me on that. I'll check later, maybe. If I don't check later, then ask your teacher. Or look it up yourself. Rightio, for our final usage here, we have this one's. I'm kind of cheating right now because this is kind of like part of another grammar pattern. But anyways, used with ka tahi anō to mean only now or just or for the first time. Ka tahi anō a wirumu ka tae mai. Wirumu, only just, obviously, verb phrase marker, arrived. So yeah, that is about all our usages of ka. It's a lot more of a simpler particle compared to like kaite or kei and then fucking ki. But you know, I reckon this still took up a lot of time to record, and the video will still probably be about 10 minutes long. So, thank you all for watching. Put anything down in the comments you would like me to cover or any questions you have, and I'll see you guys all later. Ka kite!